Has your day ever felt like a relentless to-do list? You know, the kind where you're just trying to survive the next load of laundry, the next traffic jam, or the next trip to the grocery store without losing your mind? Well, I get it. I've been there. For a long time, I thought finding God was something that only happened on Sundays or in quiet moments, like when I'm praying, not while I was frantically searching for my earring. But what if I told you those exact moments, the chaotic, completely mundane ones, are the ones where God is waiting for you? I decided to run an experiment. I found out where I was finding God throughout my day. I took a normal day yesterday, trying to notice every single little thing, the touch points with God. And what I discovered might surprise you, for it certainly surprised me. My day started without an alarm. It was glorious, to be honest with you. A peaceful moment, kind of like makes you think, okay, this is going to be a good day. And I thanked God for it, for waking me up without that darn alarm, naturally. Of course, on days the alarm does go off, I ask for His help to calm my rattled nerves from being jolted awake and give me the motivation to get moving. Next, it was time for breakfast. I peered into my fridge, fully prepared for figuring out what to eat. I just wasn't awake yet. But then I saw it. The peach oatmeal I made the day before, just for this moment. And in that instant, I was so thankful to God. I was ready to go. So I thanked God for preparing me for the 24 hours before this moment to have that oatmeal made ahead of time. I sure needed it. I felt like it was a small act of divine foresight that my brain was incredibly thankful for. As I got to my desk, the first thing I saw in my inbox was a prayer update. It was a perfect reminder to pause and pray for others, especially those I knew who were struggling with health needs right now. And then I looked at my calendar and talked to God about the day ahead, asking for wisdom for the afternoon meeting I knew that was coming up with ladies in prayer, and time to make sure I get up and get moving and exercise yesterday. You got the idea. My day continued with a lesson in humility in the garden. While weeding, I nearly sliced my hand with my weeding knife. I was using a lot of force, and the tool shot past my gloved hand with scary speed. I was so grateful I wasn't cut. It felt like it was God saying, hey, maybe it's time for you to take a break. I didn't want to, but I stopped and took a rest, and I was glad I did. And when I got up, all my muscles screamed in protest, telling me to take a little longer break. And it was exactly what I needed. Later, as I was making lunch, I realized I hadn't planned for dinner. And I knew I had something in the freezer, but after a frantic search, I couldn't find it. I was so sure I had seen it just the other day, and then it hit me. I was looking in the wrong freezer. I went to the correct freezer, and there it was, an old family favorite, split pea soup. My husband was delighted that night, and I was just so grateful for God helping me to remember to look in the right place. Sometimes the mundane, the challenge of finding dinner, can be a divine test. Later that same day, I went out to the garden again, but this time I reminded myself to walk away before I got too tired and did something unwise. You know, it's tough to let go, especially when my old self could work for hours in the garden. But I was thankful to God in that moment for the strength that It's building every day and for the progress that I've made. Now, dinner, well, that was a piece of cake thanks to the crock pot. And then I realized my old family recipe made enough soup to feed an army. It's just John and I. And we had a lot of leftovers, and we would have leftovers for days. So just as I was wondering, God, where am I going to put all this extra food? My daughter, who lives on the same property, started walking by the front window. She was so grateful for the soup when I offered it, and I was so grateful God provided not just for us, but enough to share with her family too. Finally, before bed, my husband and I prayed together. And after he fell asleep, I continued to pray, reflecting on all the conversations I had with God that day, with people from all over the country without even leaving my home. I had connected with at least 17 people, and that was not even counting those who I talked to online who had watched the videos that I post weekly. It sure is amazing to see what God is doing through these videos. As my head hit the pillow and my conversation with God continued, I fell asleep, just like that. So where was God in the mundane moments of my day? Well, he was right there with me when I was making wise decisions and when I was making unwise choices. When I almost let anger get the best of me, but was reminded that the person on the other side had feelings as well. He was there when I took a deep breath at the grocery store and chose apples over candy bars. He was with me when I woke up naturally. And he's also there when I'm awakened by the alarm. You might be thinking, well, that's great for you, but how do I start? Well, it's not about following a set of rules, but it's about a relationship. So here's a few simple ways you can create touch points with God throughout your day. Number one, start your day with a God breath. I call it a God breath. Before you check your phone, pause for a moment and thank God for the new day. Acknowledge that you are His and this day is a gift from Him. A simple way to remember is to put a sticky note on your phone, on your bathroom mirror, or on your refrigerator that says pause. Thank God. As Psalms 139:7-10 says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there you will guide me. Your right hand hold me fast." Number two, turn your commute into a conversation. If you're alone in the car, dedicate the first 10 minutes of your drive to God. Instead of the radio, listening to an audiobook, just talk to Him about what's on your heart. Ask Him if there's anything on His heart for you. Maybe He wants you to call someone, or slow down, or simply just listen. Number three, practice micro pauses throughout the day. These are brief, mindful check-ins. When something wonderful happens, or you see something to be thankful for, take a God breath and acknowledge His presence. When you have a decision to make, no matter how big or how small, just say a quick prayer like, "God, which way should I go?" Or "Please help me respond with love right now." Number four, end your day with a debriefing. Before you fall asleep, talk to God about everything. Share your joys and your disappointments. Talk about what made you happy and what made you sad. Don't be afraid to be completely honest. If you're angry, He already knows your heart. Share it openly is the best way to build trust in your relationship to God. So what was the big takeaway in finding God in the mundane? It wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about building a habit of recognizing that you are never alone. It was about remembering that whether you're doing laundry, driving in traffic, changing the oil, reading God's word in your car, 1 Corinthians 10:31 still applies. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. This isn't about religion. This is about relationship. And your life is a precious, precious gift God has given you. And God longs to be part of every single second of it. He's not just in the big crisis. He's there in the quiet moments of peace and the tiny choices we make all day long. He's there in the mundane, just waiting for you to notice. So what's one mundane task you can turn into a moment with God today? Remember, because He lives, it does change everything.